Hey, good morning. I brought you to breakfast this morning. Episode number 8 starts right now. And one of the things I was debating, what is episode number 8? Besides a bunch of dishes being crashed around. Well, episode number 8 is going to be all based around entertainment. We're going to talk about Hollywood. We're going to talk about kids. We're going to get into the music scene a little bit. I am right now in Burbank, right in the middle of all the movie and television producers. All the studios are here. And in fact, this place right here was a place that Bob Hope used to come and have breakfast. Talk about a good American. Bob Hope was a good American. He used to entertain the troops. He would go around the world. He was a very funny guy too.
Luinator 59, Luinator 59, Luinator 59. You should follow Luinator 59.
But when I was growing up, television was just starting to become a part of American society. It was starting to dig in deep. My favorite shows as a kid, number 1 above all, Mickey Mouse Club. I loved everything to do with the Mickey Mouse Club. I think number 2 was The Wonderful World of Disney, which was hosted by Walt Disney, which I truly loved also. In fact, I was a Mickey Mouse fanatic. Yeah. Now that's not rare in the world today, where you've got adults that well, you know how today's world is. When you get around the theme parks, you know, it's a bunch of adults trying to be kids, which I don't mind. I love to be a kid. I love my childhood influences. I thought Walt Disney was at the pinnacle of all childhood influences. He was a nice man, and we got to know him through his television show. Oh, thank you. What do you think I ordered today? You'll never figure this one out. I went to the doctor's today and had to do a blood test this morning. I told the doctor, I said, you know, my blood sugar is going to show up a little high because I ate a lot of cookies last night. And she goes, oh, we average it over 3 months. But I usually try to eat really good. Lately, I've been on a kick of not eating so good. So there's a clue of what's coming for breakfast. And oh yeah, Bob's Big Boy. That's why I came here. Bob's Big Boy was one of my big favorites as a kid. I mean, I used to love to come into Bob's Big Boy and see the Big Boy. And that's the way a lot of Southern Californians were. See, that one icon right there, Bob's Big Boy, it embedded into the hearts of Americans in Southern California. And it started up right around the same time that McDonald's did. And this is the 4th restaurant that they made. And it's right down here amongst the studios, so they got a lot of entertainers that came in here. The Beatles came in here and ate. Woo! But I say Beatles because it's an icon. And that's what happens with television and movies. It makes people into icons. It puts them up in front of the public's eyes so that the public can better themselves from it. And that's what television used to be, all about bettering oneself. Disney understood, though, that it was a business, and he made it a good business. In fact, Disneyland was the number 1 thing I loved when I was a kid. And in fact, as I grew up, I wrote letters to the Disney company, and I have the responses back of what I needed to do to work inside the Walter Elias Disney Productions. I wanted to be a part of it. It was so pure and so innocent and so good and so awesome that I wanted a part of it. I guess that's why I came back to Bob's Big Boy this morning, because I wanted to be a part of it just once more time. Who knows what's going to happen to the Bob Big Boy restaurants? Although I do think they're starting to make a comeback. I really do. And they make a pretty good hamburger. They came up at the same time that the car hops did. You know, in fact, they got an old car hop out here where you could drive up service, and I don't think it's open anymore. But you know, they bring all the old cars in here, and pretty fun place. Oh, thank you. Okay.
There you are. Any hot sauce, Tabasco, tapatio?
No, I think I'm just fine.
Right.
Thank you.
Enjoy.
Okay. It's a late afternoon, so this is brunch. Breakfast and lunch together. I got myself some chicken and waffles and a couple eggs. And I got the fried chicken because it'll stay pretty good, and I could eat some throughout the day. Kind of give me something. So anyways, I'm gonna eat some breakfast, and then we're gonna talk a little bit. And you know, there's one thing, yeah, I have to take the lid off and pour it out. I like that much pepper. But there's one thing I want to get off my chest today. It's been building for a while, and if any of you followed me on Beam, you'd know it. You'd know that I was a Disney fan. But there's one thing that's been building. The top guy, Bob Iger for Disney, who also owns ABC and ESPN. Well, that gentleman has been taking the Disney name and the Disney company and changing the way it influences people, and it's got me very upset.
You probably thought ESPN stood for Entertainment and Sports Programming Network. Increasingly, it looks like endless, stupid political nagging. The network has already drawn ridicule, rightly so, for pulling football announcer Robert Lee off a UVA football game because his name bore some resemblance to that of a dead Confederate general. But it gets better. Now, ESPN commentator Jemele Hill has gone on a bizarre Twitter rant, writing, among other things, this: Donald Trump is a white supremacist who has largely surrounded himself with other white supremacists.
When a female black news commentator could come on ESPN and call all white people white supremacists and put down the President of the United States, that is a big thing. Now, I made a racist statement when I was working. Well, no, I didn't make a racist statement. Somebody thought I made a racist statement. And they were wrong. And I got called out on the carpet and almost fired over nothing. This lady, these commentators with ESPN, they're getting by with it. Out of 59 Twitter followers of Bob Iger, he follows that one commentator that made those racist comments.
But it gets better. Now, ESPN commentator Jemele Hill has gone on a bizarre Twitter rant, writing, among other things, this: Donald Trump is a white supremacist who has largely surrounded himself with other white supremacists. In one of more than a dozen follow-up tweets, she added that, quote, Trump has empowered white supremacists, see Charlottesville. People noticed this. Today, an ESPN released a statement in response saying this, quote, the comments on Twitter from Jemele Hill regarding the president do not represent the position of ESPN. We have addressed this with Jemele, and she recognizes her actions were inappropriate.
Yeah, Bob Iger knew. Those racial comments are enough to get a white person or an Asian person or a Mexican person fired. But they're continuing to leave this girl on the air, and their other commentators are doing the same thing, joining in on the heap up and destroy America type attitude, which nobody really agrees with. Thank you very much.
So, Clay, what exactly does that mean, we've addressed it with an anchor? Is that punishment?
It means that nothing actually happened because Jemele Hill is saying what the higher-ups at ESPN believe. I think this goes all the way to the top, Tucker. Bob Iger, the CEO of Disney.
So it sets the tone for everything that Bob Iger and Disney, ABC, and ESPN is doing to America and trying to do to America. They're trying to bring unrest. They're trying to bring social strife where there's supposed to be a company that brings out the goodness of all the people, all the children in the world, but now they're shaping them to be racist? That is so wrong. And I am so mad. And, well, we'll talk more about it later. Time to eat some food before I lose my appetite. Yeah, it's very sickening.
And I think what has happened is Disney and ESPN have decided we want to be a left-wing sports network. And so if a guy like Curt Schilling comes out and he says, oh, I disagree with the North Carolina transgender bathroom law, he gets fired. If a guy like Mike Ditka says, I don't think Barack Obama was a good president and I'm voting for Donald Trump, he gets fired.
Now, was it good? Yeah, that chicken is really good. In fact, I got more for later. I like Bob's Big Boys. Bob's is a good place. It's one of those, well, like I said, it's old. It's been here for a while. And it's right down the street from the studios. Well, there's studios over here, studios over there. This is where, this is the real side of Hollywood. The other side of the mountain, on the other side of Lake Hollywood and stuff like that, it's Hollywood Boulevard. I'll take you to Hollywood. We'll end up at Hollywood Boulevard today, I'll tell you what. Do you like the idea that there are predators preying for your kids? Yeah. You know, right here in America, there is a big push to end pedophilia, and we're finding out some of the top legislators, some of the top officials, some of the top people in the top companies that run this world are into pedophilia. Not only are they preying on children, they have a distorted view of life, very distorted view of life, and the things they want are distorted also. Now, what builds public opinion? What makes kids, or no, let me back that up. What makes kids most vulnerable? Well, you promise them things. Remember when they told you don't get into a car with a stranger if they're offering you candy? Yeah, you don't candy. That's bait. And when you want to get, and media's gotten smart, they know if you want to bait children, that all you have to do is experiment a little bit. You could put something out on television or in a movie, and kids are really good at eating it up. Yeah, my favorites when I was growing up, I loved the Flintstones, the Jetsons. I loved Looney Tunes cartoons. I loved the Disney cartoons. I told you I was a Mickey Mouse fan. In fact, I was a huge Disney fan, and I still want to be. But I can't. I just can't. I can't support Disney anymore. And pretty much I've turned off television. Once you get the advertisers out of your mind and you cut that cord, it changes the way you think. It changes the way you view life, and it changes the way they have learned to sway you. Now, here at the Disney studios, this is like the first studio that starts a whole list of studios. Right here in this area, which is on the other side of the Hollywood Hills, all the movie industry moved. Disney, Warner Brothers, they're all here. In fact, I'll throw in some snapshots or something as we travel through this area. But Disney, this is their studio. And it's from here that Bob Iger is polluting the sports stream. Sports players only want to have a beer, watch a game, have some camaraderie, burn some meat. They don't want to hear political views. They don't want to hear that their president is a racist. What are you trying to do, Disney? What are you trying to do, Bob Iger? It's obviously pointed at children and adults. And your political correctness is starting to get under people's skins. I've completely blocked Disney out of my diet. I will not do Disney anymore. I will not promote it to my children, and I will not go to any of their parks or anything. And now that's a big change for me. Why do I want to take my money there when they're telling me that my president is a white supremacist and that all the people that follow the president of the United States is a white supremacist? That's coming from Disney. Doggone Mickey Mouse. That hurts. That hurts big time, and I am so bothered by that. But I shouldn't be surprised. Back in the 60s, advertisers found out that they can put products into the cartoons, into the commercials around the cartoons, and that kids would just eat it up. And Buena Vista Studios is doing a movie shoot right here. I guess they used this front yard. They used this garage for something. When I came in here, they were shooting. Anyways, they found out that they could put advertisings into the for tobacco and alcohol, and they made a legend out of the Marlboro Man. They made a legend out of the Marlboro Man, and it made it cool to smoke and drink, and the whole public was being fooled by it. And then they found out that cigarettes was starting to kill people. In fact, it was cigarettes that killed Walt Disney. So they came along and they put a fork in it. They said no more tobacco ads on television, no more alcohol ads on television. And that changed things quite a bit. And the reason why they did it is because they found out that kids are so can be so influenced by television. And they were. And what they found out was that children are easily manipulated, and so are adults. And that's when Disney went into and bought ABC. And they bought all kinds of television, radio, and movie studios. They went full tilt into the business of manipulating children and kids so that advertisers could sell their products. Which means you and I are vulnerable. We are extremely vulnerable. And we are, I'm not gonna say we. I'm gonna pull myself out of it as much as I can, but I'm still influenced by it. No, we are influenced by this little 10-mile area of the world here in California. Now, to give you an idea of what I'm talking about, right over my shoulders, you've got it right here. Atlantic Records, Rhino Records, Elektra, Warner Brothers. They're right here. Now, the big allure was Hollywood. And when I was a kid, it was Hollywood also. In fact, when I was growing up, you know, I told you that once I got out of school, I just kind of did my own thing, went my own way. Well, one of the things that I did do was I got hooked up with a rock band named Terminal Romance. Yeah, that's a great name, Terminal Romance. But their big thing was making it big in music. And I'd never been around music before, so I watched what these guys went through. And their main interest was getting into Hollywood. So, back then, I wanted to be part of Hollywood too. I wanted to be part of the music business. I played guitar. I didn't play with them, but I always had it in my mind that I could be a rock star. They tell kids that they could be anyone, anything that they want. They tell kids you can grow up to be president. You can you could start a business. You could be an actor. And just like with Terminal Romance, the rock band who wanted to be Hollywood's next up and coming band, it's not always true. You can't, it sucks you in. It'll suck your desire in, and then it will take it right out of you. But the truth is, you can't be anything you want. You used to be able to be anything you want, but not anymore, because there's because of the political correctness. So how would you like to be watching football or a baseball game on your couch, only to find out that your parents are white supremacists? Or somebody thinks they are. Dad, what's a white supremacist? Oh my God. Can you imagine the conversation that would spark? Only to hear the question, Dad, are we white supremacists? Bob Iger, am I a white supremacist?
So I close the door, turn out the lights. 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 Door closed, lights out.
Now Hollywood's got the idea in their head that they've got controls of kids. And they started opening amusement parks because that's the heart of children and it's the heart of adults. I love amusement parks. I love Universal Studios. I don't love everything Universal Studios does, but I love Universal. They've brought us some great movies, all the way to Jurassic Park, the Minions, tons of movies. And I could give you a good report on Universal. Yeah, I could go dig up some of the dirt on them, but why do that? I mean, I'm not interested in digging up dirt. But when it comes out and starts splashing all over your television screen and starts trying to program your kids, that's to the point of making them think that white people are white supremacists. That's over with right there. For me. Disney, you're dead right now to me. Until Bob Iger's completely gone and they come out and make a formal announcement about the political correctness, I'm done. In fact, Disney, I'll come here to Universal Studios before I'll go to Disneyland, and I live right by Disneyland. And I'll tell you right now, Universal is doing more to help America than it is to hurt. So if you're coming to California, I would suggest go to Universal Studios. In fact, if you want to see the true Hollywood experience, studio tours are the way to go, because in theme parks, they tell you more about movies than you're ever going to find out visiting Hollywood Boulevard. So, you think you got what it takes. You want to be a Hollywood actor. You want to be a rock musician. You want to be a film video producer. You have aspirations because you've seen it on television. Well, you got to remember, almost everything you see on television about Hollywood is fake, including what goes on in Hollywood. You've heard of the casting couch? The casting couch is real, but it's not in the director's offices. They take people to their home. And some of the things that happen in their homes are very, very disturbing. How do I know that? Well, my son was a famous model who traveled the world. And he had plenty of opportunities. In fact, one of his big opportunities was to be Aquaman in the next big Marvel movie. However, the director that was casting was more interested in my son in other ways. Yeah, in fact, there was a lot of situations where my son had to just completely walk away from because he has morals. Hollywood lost its morals. And the people in Hollywood are just as bad. Now, we were on that side of Hollywood in Burbank where all the studios moved, because over on this side in Hollywood, it's too crowded, it's too full. There's a couple studios, but over here is where everybody comes to see Hollywood, and over there is where they make all the movies. Well, of course, they make them throughout Southern California because this is a great place to shoot. And you've probably seen a lot of Southern California movies, and everybody seems happy and everybody seems like they're having a good time, but behind the scenes there's a lot of misery, a lot of tears, and a lot of broken promises and broken lives. The thing is you don't want your life to be broken. That's one of the things that I understood growing up. Yeah, I guess if the tourist thing is what you want to do, yeah, you coming down to Hollywood and Vine is, well, you get to see all of this. But it's just not that, it's not Hollywood. It's just taking your money. And that's what they're trying to do. Get as much money as they can. Even Disney is in here. That's their theater right there. Yeah.
Trust me, they don't love you. All the things you used to see, you left behind for someone that you used to be.
I guess if you want your Hollywood experience to be a bunch of shops and tourist attractions, this is one place you'd come, but I don't know, it costs a lot of money to come to Los Angeles and take a vacation. And there are so many things to do here that aren't jumbled with a bunch of glitz and glam and trying to take your money at every turn. Now, trying to take your money, that's called predating. Yeah, when you're a salesman and you're looking to make a sale, you gotta study, you gotta think, you gotta watch people, and you get in, you make that sale when you can, right? Well, that's all Hollywood is. They're trying to make a sale. Every time you turn on that television, they're trying to influence you to buy products, to believe things, to trust them, to tune back into their station and to enjoy their programming that they picked for you. And where television stations used to produce news that was biased or non-biased, now it's all biased. I mean, there is absolutely no good in news programming today because the major conglomerates have grabbed hold of the advertising markets and are putting in front of your eyes the things they want you to see. We've got a crazy over here yelling at people, but you can come here and get sold to take your picture on a bunch of things too. There's all kinds of weird things. Okay, so now we're on Hollywood and Highland and walking along the Walk of Fame.
Hey, oh, we're the losers. We always thought we'd win. And hey, oh, we're the losers. And soon you feel our them. Policy is here to deny. And ayo, we're the losers.
A musician that really touched my life.
And ayo, we're the losers. You're practicing your sin. So don't look now, here we come crashing. If you think we'll fall in line, wait and see. It's so absurd that you are so lacking of strength, of grace, of course, humility. Hey oh, we're the losers. We always thought we'd win. And hey oh, we're the losers. And soon you feel our them. Time is spinning, the world is winning, and that will always make us be right. Time is spinning, the world is winning, and that will always make us be right. Time is spinning, the world is winning, and that will always make us be right. Time is spinning, the world is winning, and that will always make us be right. And hey oh, we're the losers, and in the end we'll win.
Feel of fortune with Brett and Van at Free if you want to be in the audience.
Would be complete without a visit to the TCL Chinese Theater. Ladies and gentlemen, to get your tickets for our next tour. Our next tour inside the TCL Chinese Theater is going to begin at 2:15. To get your tickets for our next tour, see us under the red umbrella. Ladies and gentlemen, by the front door. No trip to Hollywood would be complete without a visit to the TCL Chinese Theater. Anyone wishing to purchase tickets for our tour, see us under the red umbrella, ladies and gentlemen, by the front door.
Hollywood!
Hey man.
As you can see, everybody's here trying to put their hands and feet in the footprints in the cement. And all around these people are other people praying, trying to give them away free things, trying to get them to go to television tapings, and trying to get them to buy souvenirs and take pictures with, oh God, the actors around here are so creepy. It's just like it is in Times Square. You know, you get some really creeps.
Ladies and gentlemen, at 2:15, the next VIP tour will begin for the TCL Chinese Theater. Ladies and gentlemen, no trip to Hollywood would be complete without a visit to the TCL Chinese Theater. To get your tickets for our full VIP tour, ladies and gentlemen, see us under the red umbrella. At 2:15, our VIP tour will begin.
show you one of the most famous ones.
Okay, let's follow that guy. He's going to show him Marilyn Monroe's print.
Jane Russell.
Okay, there you go. Marilyn Monroe's handprints. That's what every person wants to see, right? But where did we start to worship hand and footprints? So what is it about stars that makes everybody want to come and put their hands in their prints and their feet in their footprints? They become extraordinary to people. In fact, the biggest thing that got me, and the reason why I came down here today, because I rather avoid this area, but the reason why I came down here today is to show you how gaga people go over this stuff, and how, oh, they just give them over to anything that's television and movie. Easier to walk on the street than it is the sidewalk. But they give themselves over to anything that's television and movie, and they try to make make their life better by it. The reason people do that is because they become so starstruck, and watching it across television makes you think that, hey, if that person can do it, I can do that. If that baseball player could hit it out of the park, I could hit it out of the park, and that's our connection. We feel like we can do that too. And then they parade all their glamour and glitz in front of us and try to make Hollywood the Hollywood lifestyle look so enchanting. Well, that made busloads of young teenage girls show up here in the 50s and the 60s trying to be discovered. And for many of those, their lives ended up being turned into tragedy. And such is the case of many people that come to Hollywood thinking that it's going to be their big career move and that they're going to take it by storm and that they're going to become famous. It doesn't work that way. Fame is not something that you want. Fame makes you a slave to whoever's behind the other side of that camera. And I really think that's why a lot of these Hollywood stars end up changing who they are. Because by the end of their Hollywood career, they suffer from so much low self-esteem from the things that they had to do and the people they had to hang with. It's bad. It is really bad. If you only knew how deep entrenched pedophilia and Satanism is within the Hollywood rock and roll, movie, television, and entertainment industry, it would blow your mind.
Sit, stand high and brought to you by some sort of advertisement. Sit, stand, I'm the one who brought this product placement. Now sit still, 'cause God has put you in a place He knows you cannot handle. Sit, stand high and brought to you by first year sponsor. Yes, we can, 'cause normally I am unhinged. So sit still, 'cause God has put you in a place He knows you cannot handle. In a moment I am feeling like I'm young again. At least he's younger than you. Holy Christ, I've come undone.
Here's a real sad story about Hollywood Boulevard. All these stars that you see up and down Hollywood Boulevard, they are sponsored mostly by the actors themselves. Yeah, they end up paying to have their star here, and they pay to have all the big media frenzy around their star being put here because you know why? It makes some money. It's the only reason why they do it.
Christ, you're the reason I run, and God has a plan for everyone. So sit, stand, I am brought to you by the biggest ad agency.
Another young Hollywood kid getting ready to grow up in Hollywood. It's going to be interesting to see what happens to him. Oh, by the way, this is no way to see Hollywood. You don't want to get on one of these buses.
So I close the door, turn out the lights. 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 Door closed, lights out.
Urine-smelling streets, homeless people all over the place. Everybody's begging for money. That's all Hollywood is. And of course the advertisers are all connected to it. And down here, that's all they want to do. They want to sell products. That's Hollywood, selling products, selling influence, trying to get you to tune in every single day, every single minute, all day long, 24/7. They want your attention on television, at movies, and buying all the products that they associate to them. Yeah, they tell you how great Hollywood is. They get you to come here, and it's nothing. Now, all those kids that came here and got trapped, there were a lot of lives lost. And if you're one of those people whose life is messed up in Hollywood, call me, tweet me, get hold of me. Let me know. I want to come and talk with you. I want to help you. And that's one of the things I used to do. Okay, once I grew up, got out of high school, and started out working and started to actually buckle down and get serious, all of a sudden I started to find all kinds of opportunities to help people. In fact, the one band that I did associate to the most, and the band that I manage, was called Contagious. Their first album was Contagious with God's Love. And that's what we did. We came to Hollywood and we actually went onto the street looking for people that we can help. In fact, I'll show you one of those places right now. Okay, see this little place right here? This is where we would book the band in here a lot. This was at one time called the Cherokee Cafe, and it's on Cherokee right at Hollywood Boulevard. And the Cherokee Cafe was an outreach type ministry to where they were reaching to people on the streets. You know, kids that came down here and got their lives screwed up. And so we would come down quite a few times every month, set our band up, we'd play, I'd go out on the streets, invite people in. We had a whole bunch of people that would do that. We were constantly trying to get people to come in to hear a good message. And plus, these guys were really good rock and roll artists. I mean, they were really good. And I'm still impressed by their music. And I've heard a lot of music since then. But one day, I was out here, and I just got down here onto Hollywood Boulevard. And I met a girl. Yeah, I did yeah, I did go home and tell my wife about it. And she says, you met a girl? And I said, yeah, I met a girl. And this girl, she was a nanny for a rich Beverly Hills couple. And in the evening, she'd come down here to hang out. Well, she was one of those people that had her life sideways, and she came into the Cherokee and she got her life straight. I mean, she finally said, you know, forget all the street stuff. And she decided to get her life right. But she said to me, she says, hey, Lou, you know, I want to take you out on Hollywood Boulevard and show you the real Hollywood Boulevard. So I don't remember that girl's name, but so we came down here on Hollywood Boulevard and she started showing me all the different places that the people that would go into the Cherokee would go hang out afterwards. And as it turns out, all of these, boy, this guy's really noisy right here. Free speech, you gotta love it, huh? But anyways, she took me out here on Hollywood Boulevard and we started hitting all the spots, and she started showing me where people on the street were actually hanging out and what was going on with them. I mean, there was a bunch of different people down here that were all hitting the skids, and they had given their life over to sex, drugs, and rock and roll, and all the way to the point where they started actual satanic groups that met around here. And there's a big satanic community here in Hollywood. Yeah, and of course, anybody that wants to be big in Hollywood, you have to, especially if you're in music and you're on the lower end of Hollywood like the Cherokee is, the only way you're gonna make it big is selling drugs, selling your body, and selling your soul. And that's what a lot of people did. They just sold their soul. Hey, how you doing, man? Well, thank you. See, down here, everybody wants to give you something. And there are super predators. Super predators now. In fact, from the days that I came until now, this place has gotten very horrible. Horrible, horrible, horrible. And it was bad when I was here. I mean, it was really bad. Hi, good, how are you? Yeah, this was one of the places. Yeah, I walked into this place with her, and right there in the middle of the restaurant, over there, they had some of the most satanic rock and roll going on. And they actually had a satanic cult circle where they were praying right there in the middle of the club. And they were praying against groups like mine that was down here to do good. In fact, some of the things that they were praying would flip your mind. And that was back in the 80s.
I only know what it's like in America.
Now, I'm trying to be careful so I don't fall down this hill. I came up all the way up to the top of the Hollywood Hills just to get a view of that sign, because that's the only good thing about this side of the Hollywood Hills that I could tell you about. You know, I love Hollywood. I love TV, I love movies, I love music. However, when it starts to attack you, that's when I have problems with. And golly, when people on television start telling me I'm a white supremacist and that my president, the president of the United States, Donald Trump, is a white supremacist, and that trying to make up some big scheme, I have a problem with that. I have a big problem with that. Disney, why are you doing that? I mean, sure, this is Hollywood. It's make-believe, it's fun, it's a place people come to make money. But doggone, don't make money off our kids, distorting the image of America. It's a terrible thing. And all of you who want to get rich and become the Hollywood star and come out here and have your picture taken with the Hollywood sign, and there's a lot more in life to do than that. But then I find myself out here on a hillside in front of the Hollywood sign talking to you about Hollywood. But I'm gonna leave you here today because I got a long drive home. Coming out to Hollywood isn't much fun, and doing what I did today wasn't much fun. Going where I went wasn't much fun. But doggone it, America, there's a big message here. Our kids. Remember Back to the Future? It's your kids, Marty! What, we become a bunch of assholes or something? Well, our kids. What do you let your kid listen to? Do you just let them have free reign of all the music and television that they want, or do you even get involved? Do you get involved with your kids on the internet they watch? I mean, all forms of media, music, television, radio, and internet is being grabbed by money-hungry, degenerate people. What does Disney want to do in America? If you say the President of the United States is a white supremacist, I'm getting mad. I'm grabbing dirt. But if you say the President of the United States is a white supremacist, then you're evidently trying to unseat the President of the United States, which means you're anti-American because Americans voted President Trump in. So Disney, what is it? Did you turn your backs on America? America made you. I could guarantee you, if Walt Disney was alive today, he would be having a fit and Bob Iger would be out on the streets. It's a shame. What are you trying to do to our kids, Disney? But my message, as always, is to be a better human, to be better. Don't give in to the norms of society. Don't just take everything you hear for face value. I mean, oh gosh, it's sad. And that's why I came down here to Hollywood, and that's why I came down when I was younger to reach to homeless on the streets here, and that's why I came here when I managed a band, is to help people and make people better, to make a difference. And we really thought we could make a difference, but you know what? We didn't even scratch the surface. There is so much depravity in Hollywood, and if you think that the cute movies, the figures that they have in movies, and the cute actors and actresses that they have, and singers, if you think that is all something to achieve, you're wrong. Those are some of the most miserable people in the world, because they have to do those things that make the executives happy, the advertisers happy, the promoters happy, and their management happy. Otherwise, you have to sell your soul. That's right. You want to make money in Hollywood? You have to sell your soul. The biggest question is, will you get it back? Can't guarantee that. Can't guarantee that at all. So, from here in Hollywood, I want to say, see you later. Peace, be good humans, and as always, I'll be back. Luminator 59 out.